My name is Harris Katz, and I live at 445 Shady Knoll Road, Montoursville. I'm a professional biologist retired from a career in academic science, and I'm testifying today not only from the perspective of a scientist, but also from that of a person who chose to live in this area of the country because of the natural beauty and the combination of serenity and recreation this offers. When my husband and I could afford to retire from paid work and devote our energies and expertises to volunteering in our community, we realized that careers no longer governed where we would live. We spent several years searching for the area in the U.S. that best suited how we wanted to spend the next part of our lives. We chose Lycoming County, Pennsylvania, and for nearly 20 years we've been very satisfied with that choice. Now, however, we are seriously questioning whether that was wise. The natural gas industry's operations could change the landscape, the pristine environments, the area's small-town atmosphere, and the confidence that residents' health and safety are adequately protected from the short and long-term hazards of gas drilling and extraction. Pennsylvania should follow New York's lead in being particularly careful before permitting drilling activities in key environmental areas and in places crucial to the economy of tourism. Degrading these areas is not cost-effective for the taxpayers because the income generated by drilling will not outweigh that lost in environmental cleanup, lost real estate values, both personal and corporate, and in tourism no longer viable due to pollution and desecration of landscapes and recreational areas. Pennsylvania's DEP current proposal to regulate discharges of dissolved solids into streams, that's TDS, into streams, rivers, and lakes is long overdue, but industry and pro-development groups have labeled it ill-advised and too expensive. That is, too expensive for their huge corporate bottom lines. Some in the industry have said that the proposal is not based on sound science and that the standards in place now will not damage the environment in any critical ways. This is a failure on the industry's part to understand or to acknowledge that the discharges in question constitute damaging pollutants. The proposed new standards will decrease the amount of pollution, and in this instance, less is better. The industry argument is not true questioning of science, but rather a smokescreen to maintain the status quo, which has already been shown to be unacceptably high in some of Pennsylvania's waterways, particularly in the Pittsburgh area, and you've heard from several speakers about this. As a biologist trained in physiology, I do not question the validity of lowering the permitted amount of TDS discharges as a way to protect the environment, health, and safety. That is sound science. I'm also concerned that there has been little, if any, discussion about the human health impacts of high TDS discharges into waterways from which drinking water will be drawn. Salt comprises a major part of the Marcellus Shale Drilling fluid and also ends up as a major component of TDS discharges, as you all have heard by several speakers. Salt intake has been shown to be directly related to risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease. The latest of the many studies supporting this relationship was published in the November issue of the British Medical Journal. I want to speak in support of others who have raised concerns about additional specific contaminants in Marcellus Shale gas drilling fluid. These include bromides, arsenic, benzene, radium, magnesium, and more. They're not only dangerous environmentally and medically, but many of these contaminants are very difficult for drinking water systems to remove. We should not be putting people's health in jeopardy from drinking public water in exchange for the revenues that gas drilling may bring. It can be said that public drinking water suppliers must ultimately be responsible for treating the water, but the cost to the public for such treatment may not be outweighed by the public economic benefit from gas extraction. Less is more, but is the newly proposed lesser amount for TDS discharges biologically and medically appropriate? That is it sufficient to be protective? Finally, I have concerns that there appears to be a lack of coordination between DEP's discharge permitting and the Susquehanna River Basin Commission's oversight of water withdrawals. Environmentally and medically, we cannot afford to increase the pollution, including the salinity, of our major waterways further by withdrawing unpolluted water only to replace its volume with fluid polluted with high TDS substances. If water withdrawals continue at the current pace and increase at levels predicted by the gas industry, that process alone will degrade the quality of our waterways. And that's another reason to keep the TDS discharge standards as low as possible. Here's my personal and professional bottom line. Less is best. The TDS standards currently in place must be changed to force less TDS discharge. DEP must not back down under the pressures from the oil and gas industry reps. DEP must not waver in its commitment to protect the health, safety, and environment for all Pennsylvanians. Thank you.